What's up, y'all? Show most death the most. Trick went back in that video. Brewski, he always wears ski. Do he know Michael Jackson? And he the one who sang hee hee? Or do he go out snowing with a ski? Why Rango made people so mad? Rango? Rango actually a good movie. I'm not gonna hold you. I don't know. People nowadays, I just really just don't take them.
It doesn't look or feel.
You know what? I just don't even take people serious nowadays, bro. When they just be hating on other people, bro. I'm not gonna hold you, bro. And especially, bro, why is you hating and you not even living the best of your life? That's the real question. Why is you hating on people and like just because you're not in that same position? There's a lot of people in the world but hating. Don't be mad. Why are you mad? Because you're not in the same position as the other person. Work your way up there. You'll get there one day. Like all of us, we'll get there one day, slowly by day by day. You don't see me out here hating on people. Exactly. But make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, follow us. Social media gonna pop on the screen. Let's see what's going on with Brewski.
Rango has become known as one of the biggest anomalies of the 2010s. It doesn't look or feel like anything else from its era.
Instead of motion capture, it's kind of emotion capture.
And the Oscar goes to Rango Gorbabinsky!
With its gritty animation, oddly existential humor, and offbeat tone, the movie is one of a kind. But the same things that made Rango stand out are also what made it so divisive when it first hit theaters. While critics praised its bold style, some parents were genuinely offended. Complaints poured in about the language, depictions of smoking, and the way it handled its spiritual themes. There were calls for a stricter rating, and some even labeled the film sacrilegious. From the very beginning, Rango's development was unconventional. It wasn't some big corporate attempt to compete with Pixar and DreamWorks. The film was a near decade-long passion project where everything slowly fell into place. The idea for the movie first emerged in 2003 during a breakfast meeting between director Gore Verbinski, producer John B. Carls, and author David Shannon, who was best known for children's books like A Bad Case of Stripes and No David. They pitched an idea for a western about creatures in the desert, and while the premise was simple, it resonated with all three of them. Verbinski was eager to start working on the film. They had already drawn some concept art and written a short outline of their vision, but at the time he was already in the middle of directing Pirates of the Caribbean, so he decided to hold off until he was done with the project. But Gore had no idea just how successful Pirates of the Caribbean would be, and after it ended up grossing over $600 million, they had to do more. He went on to direct the second and third Pirates films. By 2007, he had helped Disney create a billion-dollar franchise and gained extensive experience working with some of the top VFX artists in the industry. With that behind him, Gore Verbinski could revisit their rough idea from 4 years earlier, the one that would slowly take shape as Rango.
I think when you make sequels, the danger is you fall into a trap of the known, you know?
I wonder why Rango ain't never got a part 2 to it. But there's so much movies that should and deserve part 2s, and there's some movies that never need a part 2 to it. But Rango definitely needed one more before, but hey, who knows, bro? They want to put another Rango out. You know, the animation of drawing like that is probably way difficult to do.
And it was really good to get back to something that you don't know if you you don't know what you're doing, kind of, in a way.
Very early on, they knew what kind of story they wanted to tell. A lizard on a journey of self-discovery. They just had to figure out what it would look like. The designers pitched an array of ideas, but there was one sketch in particular that stood out. The way it was framed allowed the team to clearly visualize the film's tone and aesthetic. A dry, gritty world that looked and felt like an old western. This helped lay the framework for every shot, set piece, and especially the characters. If they wanted to create an authentic vibe, the creatures had to look and act act like their real-life counterparts, to some extent. They chose a chameleon as the main protagonist. The obvious reason was that chameleons use camouflage to blend in, and blending in was central to the film's themes of personal identity. Additionally, the species was an aquatic chameleon, which meant it couldn't naturally survive in the desert, making him seem even more out of place. They also realized that chameleons move their eyes independently, which could be utilized to convey a wide range of different expressions. The mare character had to have been there for a long time, so tortoise immediately came to mind. They thought of a lizard that freezes up in a catatonic state like some lizards do, and desert rodents that burrow and emerge from the ground. The goal was to craft an ensemble of believable characters with realistic imperfections, where the audience could understand a lot about someone and their story just by looking at them. With the setting, it made sense that the town itself would be built from found objects, scraps and junk repurposed into buildings and structures. For the cast, Johnny Depp was the first to come on board. He had already expressed interest in the role when Verbinski pitched the idea to him during the making of Pirates of the Caribbean 2, so when it came time to finally bring him on, it didn't take much convincing.
So what did he do to convince you to do it? What was the pitch?
You know what, he didn't even have to. You know, he didn't have to go through any song and dance, nothing. It was basically, he said, I got this idea of a lizard on an existential quest in an epic Western. And I just said, okay, well, you know, I'm in. You know.
Gore, along with a small team of artists and designers, spent 16 months working out of a house in Pasadena, California, sketching out the film's plot. At the time, there was no guarantee it would even get made, but eventually, Paramount Pictures stepped in and agreed to produce and distribute Rango under Nickelodeon Movies. The partnership effectively birthed a new studio called Paramount Animation. After years of planning and deliberation, production officially began in 2008. Even though it was animated, the team was determined to preserve that grounded, realistic feel in the final product, so they took a unique approach. Rather than using motion capture, they used traditional keyframe-based CGI, but the actors weren't just recording their lines in booths. Verbinski had them perform the scenes together on a stage, with props and costumes, acting everything out physically so the animators could capture the energy and realism of a live performance. The cast members noted that at times they felt ridiculous doing it.
Well, initially it felt ridiculous, you know what I mean? All the actors felt really stupid.
Plenty of animated movies used real footage for reference, but this was another level.
That's overseas.
It added extra.
That's overseas, man. That's a good movie too.
Costs and consumed more time, but Gore Verbinski simply didn't know any other way. Directing actors on a physical stage was what he was used to, and he wanted to stay within his comfort zone. But this commitment to realism, to making Rango feel like a true Western, was where some felt the film began pushing the boundaries a little too far. Rango drew heavy inspiration from classic movies like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, Chinatown, and The Shakiest Gun in the West. It even included multiple direct references to those films, among many others.
Just a dirty son of a
In most movies from that era, especially westerns, characters were often seen smoking or drinking alcohol. Smoking reflected the historical presence of tobacco use in the Old West and its glamorization in Hollywood throughout the 20th century. The creators of Rango felt that a western movie without characters smoking wouldn't feel authentic. It was a key element of the western aesthetic. Additionally, they realized that most of the audience members who would actually catch the references were adults, so they gradually leaned into mature jokes, stronger language, and subtle nods. As the release date approached, it became more and more clear that they weren't making a standard kids movie. The directors, writers, producers, and actors were all determined to push the boundaries of what an animated film could be. And for better or worse, that's what they did.
You might say I'm from everywhere there's trouble brewing and hell waiting to be raised. You might say I'm what hell's already raised up. Name's Rango.
Rango officially premiered in March 2011, and for the most part, critics were impressed.
Okay.
The movie had a distinct visual style with fluid animation, and while the story clearly drew from many influences, it still felt fresh and inventive. It was funny, sincere, and by the end, genuinely inspirational.
I had such a great time watching this movie. It is not at all what I would expect from an animated film. It doesn't feel like an animated film to me.
Great Western. If you like Westerns, you will like Rango. In fact, you might just love it.
It's Governminski's best film.
This is probably the best CGI animation I had ever seen.
Each character stood out in their own way,
So,
brought to life
when
by
did they get to the point that they started hating and they said, oh my God, I don't even like this movie. They did too much. Oh my God, they got them smoking cigarettes and alcohol. Like you don't do that on a regular basis. Probably a Karen. No, she be doing it as soon as she get off of work on a nice Good Friday. If she ain't drinking all the alcohol, she drinking that wine. Yeah, and her husband Billy Bob is smoking a cigar. Like, come on now, don't be acting like all new because your kids watching it. You do it on a regular basis.
Stellar cast. Johnny Depp was especially praised as a perfect choice for the lead, often described as a chameleon for his ability to transform into vastly different roles. He was hilarious, yet also nailed the emotional beats perfectly. Rango was a breath of fresh air that actually had something to say. It even ended up winning the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature.
Someone asked me if this film was for kids, and I don't know, but it was certainly created by a bunch of grown-ups acting like children.
But while reviews were mostly positive, the acclaim wasn't unanimous. No one could deny that the film featured cutting-edge animation and standout performances, but many viewers took issue with its tone. Rango was rated PG, like many Pixar and DreamWorks titles. In the lead-up to its release, it was marketed as a family-friendly animated movie, but that wasn't exactly what audiences got. As reviews started pouring in, more and more parents were expressing their disappointment. They described it as having offensive language and suggestive comments. They use several curse words, there's a lot of crude behavior, also splattered uses of mild sexual content, including a reference to lesbians that my 11-year-old picked right up on. This should have been rated higher because of the language and violence. I cringed every time I heard language I knew my 7-year-old would repeat for shock value. To have a movie masquerading as family-friendly that is not is offensive beyond belief. Like all movie releases.
It's crazy that you set your time. Type on a computer just to type all that. Mind you already paid for the ticket. Probably already goggled down the drink, and you was smashing on your little popcorn or little candy. And then you just say, let me just go home and type this long paragraph like we in school or something like that. Like, I don't get it with people around here, bro. I swear, it's either they hate for the free or they just like, bro. It don't make no sense. Cause ain't no way I'm taking the time I did. And this was a great movie. I'm clapping it. My son, okay, cool. It is what it is. My daughter, all right, cool. Eventually, they gonna know. Like, ain't no one movie just gonna destroy somebody's childhood. Oh my God, yes, Rango destroyed my whole childhood. I don't even want to watch no type of movie, Mom. Like what? What do you mean? And then you just sat home and said, you know what? I'm gonna write a paragraph to them. Like, you know how long they'll take you? And then you said you were trying to get explicit words.
Some people's reactions were extreme, but even those who liked it were confused about who the film was for.
It's an animated movie, but it's not really for kids.
It's very adult. It is very
it's
adult.
definitely very adult.
I don't get who the movie's made for.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it seems like all the jokes are for the parents.
This is not a kids film. Even though it's put out through Nickelodeon and it's rated PG, it's not a children's film.
At the end of the day,
what we gotta realize that all movies is really not for kids. Movie Shrek. If you really want me to go down the list, go down the list. Let's go. Shrek. And then we could go to Disney. Hercules, Princess and the Frog. Cause there's a lot of jokes. Incredibles, Leo and Stitch. Do you want me to go on and name? We could name it. Hey Arnold. Hey Arnold movie. Yeah, some yeah. Yeah. So what, why are we saying, well, all these movies, it's, yeah, most majority of movies is not really for kids. Like, down there's so many jokes that it'll fly through your head as a kid, but sooner or later you come back and watch it as an adult, you're like, now I need to understand. Even Meet the Robinsons. And if you really want to put some more into depth of movies you want to watch, you can put Beauty and the Beast. All right now. I mean, I ain't gonna get on Rango like that. Y'all gonna leave him alone. And they got all the other movies. Cars 2 and Cars 1. Shoot, y'all know that movie scene? Talking about Ka-chow. Them girls came up there and Ka-chow. My boy Lightning McQueen. Yeah, see? Y'all won't get on Rango. Poor Rango. Leave him alone. I always want to mess with somebody. Y'all gonna leave this man alone.
Creators weren't trying to trick audiences into corrupting their children, obviously. It was all in service of making something that fit their vision.
It's not, it says parental guidance suggested. So you should, as a parent, I think, and I'm a parent, you should, use some guidance.
Still, a lot of the references and most of the jokes were directed at adults, and there were multiple scenes involving character deaths, as well as mentions of hanging and other forms of violence. The film didn't have the smooth, colorful corporate look that families had come to expect. Instead,
I don't think. Oh, they ain't had. Yeah, they mentioned a lot of people deaths. I already said that. Incredibles. Tarzan at the end. Princess of Frog. What happened to the Magic Man? Got pulled down somewhere. Beauty and Beast. Dude fell down. Do you want me to go Snow White? What you want me to go to Elsa? 2. Well, who else? Who else? Let me know what movie y'all think. They got plenty of in these movies.
it was rough and dark,
Let's continue
much
this.
like the Mojave Desert setting and the characters who inhabited it. But the mature language wasn't even the biggest complaint about Rango. Many parents and advocacy groups were shocked by just how much smoking appeared on screen. According to Breathe California, the Sacramento anti-smoking organization, there were at least 60 instances of smoking in the film. The only other animated film to match Rango was 101 Dalmatians. They went as far as labeling the movie a public health hazard. People believed that the creators were encouraging the use of tobacco and that it would lead kids into doing it themselves. The combined outrage of parents and organizations sparked a collective campaign to get Rango an R rating.
And it's gonna be the last time I see some smoking. Kids don't supposed to smoke, but do they still do it? Yes, regardless. Everybody, yeah, they still do it when they get older. No, don't let them fool you. Yeah, you can stop them while they're young, but they still gonna do it. I ain't saying, but you're crispy, you're just being a bad influence, and you're just not trying to help stop your kid from smoking, and blah 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 blah. You ain't gonna be around your kid 24/7 unless you got them on lockdown for real, and that's that strict stuff. That's prison time type of strict. Like, ain't no way. So don't say, this thing and then that, and they got so many movies that and cartoons that smoke. So many cartoons, so many things. Like if you go watch Hercules right now, Hades, he lit up a cigar while he was talking to one of his henchmen. Like, don't say that. Like,
efforts, the petitions had no effect, and the film retained its PG rating.
That
Yet
don't
it
look like
didn't
me. Why y'all
stop
trying to
there.
drive?
The film also faced significant backlash from certain religious circles, not just for its language,
Religious?
death, smoking, or alcohol use, but for the story itself. On Rango's journey of self-discovery, there are multiple mentions of a mythical gunslinger known as the Spirit of the West.
This is my quest. He waits for me.
What? Who?
The Spirit of the West, amigo.
Rango even has a spiritual encounter with the character near the end of the movie. The figure he meets is essentially a Clint Eastwood archetype, who appears as a quiet guide and mentor during Rango's lowest moment. He's referenced repeatedly throughout the film, with characters treating him as a godlike being. There's a scene where the animals gather around a fire, hold hands, and pray to him, ending with an amen.
Thank you, Spirit of the West. Amen.
Because of how the film frames this character, some online communities claimed it was mocking Christianity, many of which gave it a moral.
How? If they ain't say no type of form of that, so how is that mocking it? They never expressed that. Like, don't try to put your stuff, and I hate how people does that. Don't try to put your stuff onto like a movie or something like that. That's his belief. Oh, so what? They must what's the Jesus to them. Jesus, whatever you believe you believe. But don't be trying to act like he was disrespecting my religion and stuff like that, blah 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 blah. No, he wasn't. Had no type of saying or nothing like that. Ain't said nothing. All they did is hold hand and say a little prayer. We can't just hold prayer. We can't hold hands and say prayers now. When we cannot just hold hands and say prayers to Jesus, like, come on now. Y'all just make anything just trying to corrupt and make a movie look bad. Like, god damn.
Rating of offensive. Additionally, the townspeople place their faith in the mayor, who manipulates the water scarcity to his advantage, stating that if you control the water, you control everything. Some viewers interpreted this as a metaphor for religious leaders using faith to control people and maintain power. In some spaces, the movie became a target of moral panic, with claims that it was going to corrupt children. The movie is spiritual but worships the wrong god, the Spirit of the West, who actually appears in man form near the end of the movie. Many references to the way we worship Jesus, God, are used to worship this false god, with amen and hallelujah used frequently. I felt this movie has the potential to plant a seed in young viewers to associate religious leaders with the mayor, since they have used so many religious buzzwords with him, and possibly cause the kids to have a bad feeling about religion and its leaders, and that they may feel silly and stupid for believing in a fairy tale like that, because the ending does not glorify God, but rather sums it all up that spirituality is a hoax. Characters that have been identified as stupid, ugly looking, and just plain turn your stomach are shown praying and doing activities associated with Christianity. This movie by Nickelodeon seemed to be yet another subversive attack on religion, specifically Christianity, with impressionable children as the target audience. The reptile hero stands as a non-believer's version of Christ, a nobody coming from nowhere who creates his identity, making it up as he goes along. The mayor tells him everyone needs something to believe in. Right now they believe in you. The concept here is that faith is a good thing, but has nothing to do with reality or truth. Sexual talk, violence, murder, lies, profanity, references to the pit, praying to a spirit and not God. Wake up, people, Satan is trying to reach your children at an.
You know what? How long it really took you to write this down and just like mention all this, bro? I know you was sitting there freaking hitting the freaking backspace so many times. So many times. I know it took you so many times to write this, whoever wrote this. They probably old right now. Old man probably watching their grandkids playing football right now. Or doing something.
Early age. As a Christian parent, I have to strongly recommend you keep your children from this movie. Most of the concerns people had were
like terrible for the negative view, bro. Cause like, dude, bro, like I say, bro, and Ain't nothing wrong with whatever you believe, but don't do that and try to put that on to like somebody like a movie and stuff like that and saying they talking about that and they specifically didn't even say nothing about your thing or nothing like that. Ain't like they on Family Guy or something like that. They acting like this Family Guy or something.
Pretty over the top. And the
But
creator
I ain't gonna say too much. Then people gonna be, oh my god, you're crispy. You just don't respect nobody. You so disrespectful. No, bro.
of Rango had no malicious intent behind the film. There's always going to be parents that overanalyze movies, but Rango did provide them with plenty of ammo to fuel their interpretations. It's darker, more vulgar, and bleaker than most animated movies, even by today's standards. But there are millions of people who watched it when they were young and loved it. Maybe it should have received a higher suitability rating, or
maybe them haters just needed to go ahead and go watch another movie. If the movie that you was watching when you was young, you know dang well you saw all of this. Don't try to prevent that for your kids now. Nah, bruh. See, I hate how parents don't want you to do what they was doing when they was young. Nah, just because you was messing with the John and Miss and Jojo and you were messing with what's it called? Juno, or you were messing with Marcus down the block, doesn't mean Sarah can't mess with such and such. Nah, don't do that. Yeah, whatever you do young is gonna reflect you later down the line. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm gonna tell y'all. Yeah, boy, I'm gonna get y'all right. I'm gonna tell y'all. Y'all better watch what y'all do when y'all young now. I'm gonna tell you. But I hope y'all love this video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, follow our social media and post on the screen. We're on the road to 500 and I'm out.